Welcome to today's deep dive. We're exploring a crucial topic that goes beyond the headlines: the enduring sociological impact of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Together, we'll examine how this decades-long struggle has shaped identities, fractured societies, and created ripple effects felt across the globe.
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is more than a political stalemate. It's a crucible that has forged complex identities on both sides. For Israelis, their national identity is often described as a mosaic, a blending of Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahi, Ethiopian, and other Jewish communities, all striving to unite under the concept of a Jewish homeland. But this diversity also brings tension between cultural heritage and the overarching narrative of national unity.
On one hand, Israel's resilience and technological innovation stand as points of national pride. On the other, there's an ever-present security consciousness, born from historical adversities and ongoing conflict. These dualities are mirrored on the Palestinian side, where identity is deeply tied to displacement and resilience.
For Palestinians, the Nakba of 1948, the mass displacement of their people, remains a defining moment. Their poetry, art, and culture reflect themes of loss, longing, and a shared struggle for self-determination. Despite internal divisions between groups like Fatah and Hamas, there is a unifying thread of displacement and a collective yearning for a homeland. Similarly, it's essential to understand the historical trauma experienced by Israelis, particularly the Holocaust and the existential fears arising from regional threats. These experiences continue to inform modern Israeli policies and perceptions.
But identity isn't shaped solely by history. External forces like education systems, media narratives, and international movements also play pivotal roles. Take, for example, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, or BDS, which has become a focal point in the global discourse surrounding the conflict. It's also a highly polarizing topic, facing criticism for perceived biases and its impact on dialogue and economic relations. These external factors amplify the conflict's global impact. At the same time, the narrative of resistance resonates far beyond the Middle East, often intertwining with other struggles for justice worldwide. Unfortunately, this interconnectedness can also fuel prejudices, with spikes in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia accompanying escalations in the conflict.
Yet amidst this bleak picture, the conflict has also sparked global solidarity. Organizations are fostering dialogue and cooperation, while grassroots initiatives, like bilingual schools for Israeli and Palestinian children, work to bridge divides on the ground. One of the most notable grassroots initiatives is the hand-in-hand network of bilingual schools, which brings together Israeli and Palestinian students in a shared educational environment. These schools aim to foster mutual understanding and respect by promoting bilingual education and joint cultural activities. The successes of this initiative include measurable increases in positive attitudes between students from both communities, with many reporting stronger personal connections and empathy toward the other side. However, these efforts face significant challenges, such as limited resources, societal pushback, and the difficulty of scaling up these programs in a highly polarized environment. Despite these obstacles, hand-in-hand schools have become a beacon of hope, demonstrating that coexistence and dialogue are possible, even in the face of deep-seated conflict.
Yes, education systems in particular have a profound impact on perpetuating or resolving the conflict. In both societies, textbooks and curricula shape how young people understand their identities and view the other side. In some cases, educational materials reinforce divisive narratives, emphasizing historical grievances and enemy images. However, there are efforts to promote more balanced perspectives. Programs that integrate diverse narratives or foster critical thinking about the conflict show potential in breaking down stereotypes and cultivating empathy. This brings us to a crucial question: how does all of this translate into everyday life for those living in the shadow of the conflict?
For Palestinians, life often means navigating restricted access to essentials like healthcare, education, and clean water. In Gaza, the situation is particularly dire, with blockades exacerbating poverty and unemployment. On the Israeli side, while the standard of living is higher, the conflict has strained social cohesion, creating divisions within Jewish and Arab communities and even among Jewish populations themselves.
These sociological scars are profound. Reports link the conflict to increased rates of depression, substance abuse, and the breakdown of family structures. Women and children are especially vulnerable, bearing the brunt of displacement, trauma, and economic hardship. To truly understand the humanitarian impact of this conflict, we must examine the efforts of organizations working on the ground. Groups like the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, have been pivotal, providing education, healthcare, and social services to Palestinian refugees for decades. Their schools and health centers in Gaza and the West Bank offer critical lifelines, though funding challenges and security constraints often hinder their work. Similarly, the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, facilitates medical aid, supports detainees, and reunites separated families, leveraging their neutrality to operate in even the most difficult conditions. American Near East Refugee Aid, ANERA, focuses on health, education, and economic development, delivering vital supplies like hot meals and hygiene kits during humanitarian crises. Even organizations like Samaritan's Purse play a role, providing armored ambulances and essential goods to affected areas. However, all these efforts face significant challenges, from restricted access to operational disruptions caused by the ongoing conflict. So, where do we go from here? Is there hope for resolving what some call the most intractable conflict of modern history? History offers lessons. The end of apartheid in South Africa and the democratization of South Korea show that even deeply entrenched conflicts can find resolution. However, we must recognize the unique geopolitical, cultural, and historical context of this conflict when drawing such comparisons. Empathy begins with education, exposing people to diverse narratives and personal stories. Documentaries like those featuring interviews with Israelis and Palestinians who have lost loved ones can profoundly humanize the other and pave the way for dialogue. Grassroots efforts and empathy building are vital, but political solutions remain elusive. The two-state solution, once the cornerstone of peace talks, seems increasingly unattainable. Alternatives like a one-state solution or a confederation model face significant challenges but offer new avenues for dialogue. It's crucial to analyze these solutions' limitations, such as political deadlock, demographic concerns, and legal disputes, to ground expectations in reality. At the end of the day, resolving this conflict requires prioritizing the dignity, security, and well-being of all people involved. It's a daunting task, but history reminds us that progress is possible, even in the face of immense challenges. Thank you for joining us on this journey. By diving deeper into the sociological impacts of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, we hope to move beyond simplistic narratives and foster a greater understanding of what's at stake. If you found this discussion meaningful, share it, comment below, and keep the conversation going. Together, we can work toward a more peaceful and just future.